This is why so many homeowners regret moving into an HOA, and what they wish they'd known before signing those documents. When people buy their dream home, they imagine peace, freedom, and a place where they can truly call the shots. But for millions of Americans, that dream quickly turns into frustration, conflict, and endless fines, all thanks to one thing: their homeowners association, or HOA. Today, we're breaking down why so many homeowners are now saying, "I'll never live under an HOA again," and how this once promising idea became one of the most controversial aspects of homeownership in America. Let's start with what people expected when they moved into an HOA community. They thought it meant higher property values, well-maintained neighborhoods, beautiful landscaping, and a sense of order. And in theory, that's exactly what an HOA is supposed to do. You pay monthly or yearly dues, and in return, the community stays clean, the lawns stay green, and your property value is protected. Sounds great, right? But here's where reality kicks in. For many people, those dues turn into something much more controlling. Instead of freedom, they get rules, hundreds of them. From the color you can paint your front door, to the type of mailbox you can install, to how tall your grass can grow, HOAs can regulate almost every aspect of your property. And the kicker: they can fine you for breaking even the smallest rule. Imagine paying a fine because your trash can was left out 1 hour too long. Or being forced to replace your fence because it's 2 inches too tall. Or being told you can't park your own car in your own driveway overnight because the HOA says it looks unsightly. These stories aren't rare, they're happening all across the country. Many homeowners say the problem isn't just the rules, it's the power dynamic. HOAs are usually run by a small group of residents or a management company. These boards often have broad authority to enforce rules, issue fines, and even place liens on properties. That means if you don't pay those fines or HOA dues, they can legally take your home. That's right, your HOA can foreclose on your property even if your mortgage is fully paid off. For some people, that's shocking. You could work decades to buy your dream home, only to lose it because of a few unpaid HOA fines. And it's happening more often than you'd think. In Texas, Arizona, Florida, Nevada, and California, HOA foreclosures have become a growing issue. Many homeowners don't even realize that signing those HOA papers gives the association that much power over them. But let's be fair, not every HOA is bad. There are good ones out there, the ones that actually maintain the neighborhood, fix potholes, handle trash collection, and make the area more pleasant. The problem is that too many HOAs become obsessed with control rather than community. They forget they're there to serve the homeowners, not rule over them. One of the biggest regrets people have is the constant feeling of being watched. Many homeowners describe living under an HOA as being under surveillance. Neighbors report each other for minor rule violations, like having a visible garden hose, or hanging Christmas lights too early, or parking a visitor's car on the street. The result: a neighborhood that feels more like a mini dictatorship than a friendly community. The psychological toll is real. Homeowners start feeling anxious about simple things, like whether their lawn is trimmed to exactly the right length, or whether their flower pots are the approved color. The sense of ownership and freedom, the whole reason people buy homes in the first place, gets replaced by stress and frustration. And let's talk about the money. When you buy into an HOA, you're not just paying for your home, you're committing to regular fees, often ranging from $100 to $500 a month, depending on the community. That's on top of your mortgage, taxes, and insurance. But here's what many people don't realize: those fees can increase at any time. If the community needs repairs or upgrades, say, a new pool, new roofs, or landscaping, the HOA can vote to raise fees or issue special assessments, which can cost thousands of dollars per homeowner. There are countless stories of people blindsided by sudden assessments. Imagine moving in, thinking your budget is set, only to receive a letter saying you owe an extra $3,000 for community improvements. And if you can't pay, the fines start piling up. Now, let's address one of the most common justifications HOAs give. They claim they protect property values. The idea is that by enforcing standards, they keep the neighborhood looking nice, which makes your home more valuable. But here's the twist: that doesn't always hold true. Recent studies have shown that the difference in property values between HOA and non-HOA homes isn't as big as many people think. In fact, in some areas, HOA homes appreciate more slowly because potential buyers are turned off by the rules, the fees, and the restrictions. People want freedom, not bureaucracy. Another major regret: the conflicts. HOA board meetings can get ugly. You've got neighbors arguing, personal vendettas, and power struggles over even the smallest issues. Many boards are made up of volunteers, not trained professionals, which means decisions can be biased, inconsistent, or downright unfair. If you've ever seen a small group of people get a little power and let it go to their heads, that's what happens in some HOAs. And then there's the legal side. If you get into a dispute with your HOA, it can quickly turn into a nightmare. They have lawyers, they have money from your own dues, and they can drag you into court over things as small as an unapproved shed or a paint color that's too bright. Many homeowners end up spending thousands on legal fees just to defend their right to live in peace. Some homeowners even report that their HOA has more control over their property than the local government. The association can dictate how you use your home, who can park there, and what can or cannot be built, even if it's legally allowed by city zoning. In other words, you might think you own your home, but under an HOA, you often just lease your freedom. The next big reason for regret is the lack of transparency. HOAs collect a lot of money every year, but many homeowners have no idea how that money is actually spent. Some boards refuse to share detailed budgets or financial statements. Others use funds irresponsibly or even fraudulently. There have been cases where HOA officials embezzled hundreds of thousands of dollars from residents. And when homeowners try to question the board, they're met with hostility or threats of fines. This toxic environment makes people feel trapped, like they can't even speak up about where their own money is going. Let's also not forget the generational gap. Younger homeowners, especially millennials and Gen Z, are increasingly turned off by HOAs. They want flexibility, sustainability, and individuality. They want to grow gardens, install solar panels, or park an RV in their driveway for weekend trips. But many HOAs restrict those things, calling them eyesores. So instead of feeling part of a modern community, these younger buyers feel like they're living in a neighborhood frozen in the past. And yet, despite all these issues, HOAs keep growing. More than 60% of newly built homes in the US are in HOA-governed communities. Why? Because for developers, it's cheaper and easier. HOAs take over maintenance costs and amenities that the city would otherwise have to handle. So local governments love them, and homebuilders use them as selling points. But once the homes are sold, the real power shifts to the HOA board, and homeowners are left dealing with the consequences. So what can people do if they're already stuck in an HOA and regret it? The first step is to understand your rights. Every HOA is governed by what's called the CC&Rs, covenants, conditions, and restrictions. These are legally binding documents that outline what the HOA can and can't do. Most people never read them before buying, but they're the key to knowing how to protect yourself. Second, get involved. Many homeowners find relief by joining the board or attending meetings. When good people get involved, it's harder for the HOA to operate unfairly. Transparency and participation can make a difference. Third, document everything. If your HOA is harassing you, fining you unfairly, or not following its own rules, keep records. Emails, letters, photos, everything. These can help you if the dispute goes legal. And finally, if you're still house hunting, be cautious. Before you buy, request the HOA documents, read their rules, ask about fees, and talk to current residents. Find out what the real experience is like. If people seem unhappy or complain about strict rules, that's your red flag. At the end of the day, homeownership should mean independence, not control. And while HOAs might have started as a good idea to maintain order and beauty, they've evolved into something many homeowners deeply regret. The promise of community has been replaced by bureaucracy, and the dream of freedom has been replaced by endless restrictions. So when you see that perfect home listed with HOA amenities, think twice. Ask yourself, is that pool, that manicured lawn, or that clubhouse really worth the cost of your freedom? For millions of Americans, the answer is no. This is why so many homeowners regret moving into an HOA. It's not just about money or rules, it's about control, privacy, and the simple joy of owning something that's truly yours. If you're watching this and have your own HOA story, maybe you've been fined unfairly, or you've fought back against ridiculous restrictions, drop your story in the comments. Let's make sure more people understand what they're really signing up for. Because once you sign those papers, you don't just buy a house, you buy into a system. And for many, it's a system they wish they could escape. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Stock Predicator, where we reveal the truth behind the systems that shape your money, your home, and your future.